Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Travel with the Stars Live. We are back. So on a Monday, you're like, oh, on a Monday. Yeah, well, so the Star team this weekend is going to be traveling to Walt Disney World Park. So stay tuned for that. And we'll be talking all about it next week when we get back, but you're going to want to follow our social media. More about that later. But so we're coming at you live early this week to talk about Hawaii because it's cold outside. Okay, it's cold outside in the north. Eric's in Texas. He's probably not cold. Fine.
It's 70 today. Yeah.
What? Whatever. Okay. Oh, oops. I accidentally booted you from this. Because it's cold outside in Pittsburgh. So what better time to talk about warm weather and all sorts of lovely things. So we are going to focus. So for those of you who don't know, Hawaii actually has like 7 islands, 4 main ones that most people would go visit, typically. And we're going to focus in on Oahu because that is arguably one of the most popular, and it's one that people tend to go to for the first time, like if they're first-time Hawaii visitors. Now, Susan, you have actually lived on Oahu briefly. So can you talk about why that might be one of the ones most people want to go visit?
I've actually lived there twice. Well, there's just a lot to do in Oahu. It's the easiest island to get to from the mainland, a lot of direct flights, and a lot of the iconic things that people want to see and do in Hawaii or on Oahu. We have Waikiki, we have the Arizona, and we have all the things like surfing and beaches and all the typical things that you want to do. So it's an easy place to get to. It's very central once you're there, and lots of things to do.
Yeah. Wonderful. And I mean, not just those touristy things, but Eric actually has a specialty in golf travel. He himself is an avid golfer. So talk a little bit about the golfing on Oahu. Is this I assume this is kind of a destination for golfers, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. If you look at the PGA Tour, the first couple months of the tour is spent in Hawaii and Oahu, and then on Maui, a couple of different tours. So when I went, it's been a couple of years ago, but we stayed on Oahu and golfed there at Ko'olina Golf Club, which is in the Ko'olina area of Oahu, and just beautiful. The elevation changes, it's a big thing for golf, elevation change and just topography and stuff like that is just phenomenal in Oahu. So really enjoyed it. Lush, obviously, because of the temperature and the rain and everything they get. So just beautiful.
Oh, fantastic. So yeah, now it's interesting because Eric just mentioned Ko'olina area. So those of you out there who maybe are just not familiar with Hawaii, you might be saying, okay, but it's an island. Right. But it's not the largest. That would be the big island, would be the biggest, but it is a larger of the islands. And because of that, there are different areas, and depending on what you want to do, may dictate where you want to go. So since we were just talking about Ko'olina, let's start there. So obviously, as Eric mentioned, we've got golf, but what else is good about the Ko'olina area? I mean, there's great things about all the areas, clearly. So
Ko'olina.
I would say obviously, obviously everybody's going to say Aulani. We do a lot of Disney. It's one of our favorites, obviously, and Aulani, the resort there. Oh my goodness, definitely a destination resort. We were talking a little bit ago. Maybe go there 2 or 3 nights and then stay in another place. Susan probably could recommend other places on the island to go to, but you definitely have to visit Aulani, and we may go in a little more depth into Aulani here in a bit.
Definitely will.
Aulani in the Ko'olina area, you got to go by Aulani.
For sure. What else, Susan, about Ko'olina do you love?
Well, so the perk to Ko'olina, those are actually man-made lagoons. There's 3 of them out there. They're man-made, so they're very protected. This is not the place you want to be if you want to go learn how to surf. Because there's no big waves, but it's perfect if you're into paddleboarding or kayaking or yoga on a paddleboard, or you're there with a young family who just
Right.
wants to float around in the water. So it's beautiful. It's super calm. This side of the island is really quiet. It is not super built up. There's only a handful of resorts out there.
Mhm.
The rest of it is more residential,
Yeah.
condos and that sort of thing. And this golf course is
Yes.
what Eric's talking about, and some wonderful restaurants. So it's a lovely place to be if you want to be a little more off the beaten path,
Mhm.
in a quieter area, and you're going just to be on the beach and be quiet, be with your family,
Yeah.
hang out. Yeah.
That's a great point. Whenever we went to
Mhm.
Alani, they had those little cutouts, like you said. And when we went, my son was a little bit younger. I think he was 8 or so, and
Mhm.
I felt so comfortable with him being out there. Not too deep, obviously, but being out there in those little cove cutouts is much more calm and just
Oh,
just a
yeah.
great place to relax and enjoy the beach without all the waves and everything. So
And
great point.
snorkeling. Like, you
Oh,
can go
yeah.
snorkeling out there.
Absolutely snorkeling. And there's not a ton of parking for locals. All the beaches in Hawaii are public, but
Sure.
because there's not a ton of parking, you don't end up with a ton of locals out there either.
Mm,
So it's a lot of
right.
people who are just at the resort. So if you don't want super crowded, super busy beaches, that's a great place to be.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and having gone to Aulani myself, and I stayed obviously in that Ko'olina area, and we walked all the way up and down those we would go from, like, one cove, and then, like, we would, like, skirt around and go to the other one because we wanted to see what it was like, but all of them were so calm,
Mhm.
and versus some of the other locations where the waves are a lot heavier, so, it is nice for just kind of paddling and swimming around, and you still get the beautiful clear waters, of Hawaii. You still in the South Pacific. It's
Mhm.
like, yeah, but just maybe a little safer in terms of the tides and the currents and things like that. I mean, you always have to respect the ocean. I rarely go in the ocean. People know that about me.
Me
I'm,
too.
I'm not an ocean girl. That's where the fish live.
Yeah,
That's
we
their
live there.
home.
Agree.
But in Hawaii, I will get in the water. That is the claim to fame for Jen is I will get in the water there because I can see my toes and I can see what's around me. I can't see that in the Atlantic. You won't get me in the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm with you.
Yeah, that's the fish's home. So I will say though, if you are in Ko'olina area, there are some excursions that you could take that would take you to a surfy area. If you're like, hey, I still want to learn how to surf. I don't, but if you want to,
Yep.
you could definitely do that because I just booked it for some clients. So that's the one area, country club area, very beautiful. That country club was walking distance from a lot of the resorts, as I
Mhm.
recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, did you walk it or did
Definitely.
you?
Yeah, we
Once you had your
walked all
clubs?
along the shoreline, and yeah, you can walk to several different hotel and resorts and
Mhm,
dine there. If you don't want to dine at Alani or whatever. So yeah,
mhm.
tons of options all along the coast right there in walking distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my favorite luau is right there. My favorite luau on the island is out there in Ko'olina. So also a great thing to do while you're on that side.
That's a great point because there are several on any of the
Mhm.
Hawaiian islands. There's lots of luau's, but they are not all created equal. And
Yeah.
like Susan said, the one that she just went to or that she went to in Ko'olina is a fantastic one. And then of course there's another one out at the Polynesian Cultural Center. So let's talk about that area up near the Cultural Center if anyone wants to address that because that's another very popular luau, the
Mhm.
Ali'i luau. And then there's a
Yeah.
fire show
Mhm.
which the name of it is escaping me.
Me too.
Ha? Is it Ha?
Ha, it is. It's the breath
Is
of
it?
yeah.
Okay.
Ha. Okay, Jen. I'll say
Woo!
ha. Yes.
Pulled that one right out.
I've only been to the Alani luau that they do
Yeah.
at the resort there at Alani,
Yeah.
and it was just phenomenal also. So
Yeah.
I haven't
That
done
one's
any of the other
so
ones.
cute. That one's cute too because you can do like the different Hawaiian activities. Like
Yeah.
they have cast
It's
members to
very
like
interactive. Yeah, it's
it
very
is.
interactive. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so the one on the North Shore is completely different. So Polynesian
Yeah.
Culture Center in general is a very unique opportunity to
Very
go
cool.
and see these little villages set up that represent the
Mhm.
different areas of Polynesia. So not
Yeah.
just Hawaii, but Samoa and Polynesia
Mhm.
and New Zealand and a lot of the areas that
Yeah.
are representative of the whole area. But they end their day with a beautiful show and then a luau, which you can do individually or you can do both together to make a full day out of it. It's a little more authentic, a little less, you're not going to go out there and get tattoos or, braid the things on your head. But it's a really beautiful opportunity, a little more local feeling up there. I mean, it's a little more jungly, a little more off the beaten path up there, a little further of a drive. But it's a really, really lovely area, a little wilder, I guess. And Kualoa Ranch is also up there, which is a fabulous opportunity if you are a fan of Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Filming up there, movie tours. You can horseback ride. You can do the dustiest, dirtiest ATVs ever.
The Raptor tour.
Yeah, the Raptor tour. That was amazing. So dusty. Zip lining. There's tons of things, but that's a great all day option to do either Polynesian Cultural Center or Kualoa Ranch, both kind of up in that area.
Yeah. And a great way, like sometimes people will stay in one area of the island and then, renting a car is a great option in Hawaii, even if it's just for a couple of days. You don't necessarily have to do it the whole time. But in general, it's nice to have it because then you can do those day trips, spend the day out that way, maybe find some other things. And I'm sort of saving one area that everybody thinks of immediately as last because everybody starts with that one. So we're not going to start with it. But I know when we rented a car, we didn't even do the shoreline drive. We went straight up the middle of the island. And at that time, I had a friend who was working at a coffee shop. And now the name of it's going to escape me. It did start with a K, not Ko'olina. But there they had a tiger chai latte that is to this day the best chai latte I have ever had in my life at this little coffee shop. It was delightful.
Sounds delicious.
It was so good. But then on the way, we also stopped at a very, very famous food truck. I don't know if anybody knows which one I'm talking about.
Donnie's?
I was stunned at the food truck scene there is phenomenal. Yeah, I was really surprised that, we were on the North Shore area and stopped at a little food truck there. And like you said, some of the best food I've had. And I'm kind of a foodie and we eat a lot of different places and it was up there with some of the best I've had.
Oh yeah. That Giovanni shrimp truck, like there was so much butter and you're like cracking open the shells on the shrimp and you're eating like, this is so amazing. We're sitting literally in the rental car though, because all the tables were taken up.
There's no tables.
We're sitting like, okay.
And the garlic, there's so much garlic.
I think my hand smelled like garlic for like the rest of the day. It was worth it.
So delicious. Yeah.
It was so amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Making that drive up past the Dole Plantation, stop and see some pineapples, get a Dole Whip, keep going, head up to Haleiwa, stop at a shrimp truck, take a swim lesson up there. A surf lesson. That's the place to go surfing. Well, swim lessons too. Go surfing up there. Paddle boarding is really big up there. Keep going on up that way, and you can see all the big waves. If you were there at the right time of year, that is where the surf competition takes place up that way. That's Bonsai Pipeline. That's Waimea Bay. That's all the places the Beach Boys sang about. That's who it is up there with surfing.
And there's also a beautiful botanical garden. Did either of you go to that?
Yep, Waimea.
We did the whole Waimea tour and the falls and everything.
So gorgeous.
That was just so gorgeous.
Yeah,
so lush. We saw a couple peacocks that were just really cute. I mean, it's lots of wildlife and flowers, everything. So beautiful.
We did that as well. And so interesting fact about Hawaii, we think of it as, obviously an island, and it is a tropical island, and tropical islands get rain sometimes. We don't think of Hawaii and having rain, but I got stuck in a pop-up rainstorm on my way out of Waimea Botanical Garden. Like drenched. It was fine.
What makes it so green?
It did, and that's what makes it so green.
It's not green for a reason. Yeah,
that's correct. Sure. So, and I know I was there during rainy season, so obviously, you kind of can see it coming in. But just make sure you should pack, rain gear during rainy season and it just lasted a little bit, but I got nice and wet during. the middle of it, but it was beautiful, and the falls were beautiful. So, so that's the North Shore. North Shore being very quiet, right? Like, I mean, we all think of it as just chill, relaxing,
Yeah,
just
very local vibe for a lot
very
of
local
it.
vibe,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, that's what I enjoyed about it is just going up there and all the local foods and
Yeah.
everything, just sitting on the shoreline watching people surf. Obviously, the
Oh, yeah.
surfing there is phenomenal. So you can just sit there for hours and snack on different foods and watch
Mhm.
people surf or try it yourself if
Yeah.
maybe your thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Great place to see sea turtles up there too. Lanakai Beach, great place to
Yeah.
see the sea turtles.
Mhm.
And then, you have to get a shave ice while you're up there
Oh,
because,
yes.
Of course.
that's the rules, shave ice. So
We don't make the rules. We just tell you that you have to do it.
Right.
But yeah, and the other thing is, and we stopped on the way back before we went back to Aulani, which was our hotel that day. We got the malasadas. The Leonard's
malasadas, yes.
like Portuguese donuts, and
Yep.
they are like, oh my god,
Goodness of dough. I mean,
delightful, sweet, and just that was breakfast the next morning. So
it was one of our last stops before we left. We had to stop at Leonard's downtown and get a box of malasadas. Like one last hurrah before we left.
Yes, like you have to. It's just, I mean, so again, another plug for renting a car, at least part of your journey, so that you can get these amazing things.
Definitely.
Malasadas in the shrimp truck, right?
I mean, a lot of this is focused around food. I'm not surprised because we like food.
All of ours are, aren't they?
Right. I think almost every episode of Travel with the Stars at some point comes back to food.
Something everybody agrees on.
That's right. In Dole, I mean, the Dole plantation, you can go get a Dole Whip. I'm just saying, like the actual Dole Whip.
The actual Dole Whip, right. From the pineapple place. Yeah.
Like literally it's a pineapple plantation. So yeah, there's that. But I know a lot of you are like screaming at your like YouTube right now. Yes, there is a very busy area of Oahu and one that we haven't mentioned yet. But let's talk Waikiki. Now, there's other spots too, but we're kind of hitting the three big ones. So Waikiki, all the action here, people. Just all of the action. What did you guys think of Waikiki? What's your initial like reaction to Waikiki?
For me, I mean, I'm not a real crowded area and it's beautiful, obviously, and it's world renowned and famous for so many movies and scenes.
Oh
And
yeah.
so yes, it is beautiful, no doubt. You definitely got to visit. Just a little touristy for me, but there is so many great places to stay, so many great restaurants in that area, shopping, everything that you want to find is in that area. So definitely go and see it. But for my personal taste, just a hair touristy, but beautiful. What do you think, Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a busy area. So this is a place that you don't need a rental car. So like Jen mentioned, get a rental car for a day or two while you're out exploring the island. But while you're staying in Waikiki, don't do the rental car. It's expensive to park. Parking is high premium, hard to find. You just don't want it there. Everything is walkable. There's tons of hotels that are right on the beach. If you want to be beachfront, if that's a little out of your price range, there's a whole slew of resorts and hotels that are one street back on the other side of Kalakaua. May not be able to see the beach, but you're just going to walk across. You're going to be there any minute. But every restaurant you can possibly imagine and every shop you can possibly imagine is there. It's a high-end shopping area right next to the ABC store where you can buy every souvenir you have ever thought you might need for Hawaii. You can do surf lessons down there. You can lay on the beach. You can have fruity drinks. Go see Duke, the famous surfer, like go see his statue down there and eat at the restaurant and go to Ala Moana, all the shopping, all the things. Super iconic. You have to at least go to Waikiki. See Diamond Head in the distance, all the things.
Hike Diamond Head if you want to hike Diamond Head.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Just be aware that a lot of the national parks now, you do need to register in advance to get your
time slot.
Your time slot, right? Yeah. So, and in some cases, there's not even a charge necessarily, but you do have to. Now, in some cases, there is. Just depends on which one. So, make sure you get your slot to go hike Diamond Head or do whatever you're going to do. But yes, you have to stop at Waikiki. It is the iconic and middle of the action. And some of my clients, that's where they want to be, is right there. Some want to be a little further out. And it just kind of depends. Between Waikiki and Ko'olina, I remember it being about 45 minutes for me, but Susan, I think you said it can take a little longer.
45 is that's a safe guess. It's an island that it has a state capital. It's the counties there. So everything is central in Honolulu, and it has rush hour. People actually do go to work on the island. And you can only stretch the interstate so far. So it does get a serious rush hour. And if you happen to be during rush hour, it's probably going to take you an hour to get between the two. Outside of rush hour, maybe 35, 45 minutes.
Yeah. So, and then up to the North Shore can take a little bit longer because that's just the topography. It just takes a little bit longer to get up there. So it depends on which route you take. So just always allow plenty of driving time is what we tell people. Check your Google Maps or whatever, but then still pad it because sometimes it is not super accurate. So anyway, but also if you're staying in the Waikiki area, it's very easy to get over to like Pearl Harbor area. It's a little bit more centrally located there. And I would say, I think all three of us would agree, that's like a must do.
Absolutely have to go to Pearl Harbor. I mean, even if you're not a history buff, even whatever, you got to go. It's somber, just I mean, it's a national landmark. You got to go.
Yeah.
So
and keep in mind, you cannot bring bags in, like no crossbodies, like nothing. You have to go put your stuff in a locker. I mean, like I had my phone in my pocket. That's the extent of what you can have at Pearl Harbor. And then if you are doing the USS Arizona, which highly recommend to do that. But that is operated by the Navy, and it might not go dependent on weather usually, or if there's something else, they might say like, nope, sorry, not going. So just be aware when you purchase your ticket, there is always that chance. Now we got to go out. We did not, however, get to step onto the Arizona because they were doing repairs at that point. So there was like some extensive repairs done. Is that like 20?
The first time, 2018.
18, yes. Yeah, and then
accident with the ports here there. So
it's all fine now. It's all fine. They fixed it. It's better. So, but yeah, that's like a must do. So what other must do's before we wrap up, guys, do you guys have on the island of Oahu?
I mean, for me, I think we touched most of them. We did the Dole Plantation plant. I think that's a must do. We talked briefly about that. We went there, obviously North Shore, doing the movie tour. Susan touched on that. So, I mean, for me, I think we touched on a lot of the major ones. What was surprising to me is how cheap and easy it was to get to the other islands once you're on Oahu.
Yes.
Southwest, I booked this for a client just a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, whoa, that's that cheap to just get, from Oahu over to Maui, over to, any of the other islands. So, yeah, it is a little bit of a haul to get over there, but once you're there, it's so easy to island hop. So I think that's one thing that's overlooked a little bit.
For sure. Yeah.
So my must-dos, I mean, we talked about a luau. You've got to find a luau. There's tons, all kinds of options. I love Polynesian Cultural Center. I love Kualoa Ranch for different reasons. Of course, you got to do the Arizona.
Yeah.
Go hike Diamond Head. Go snorkel Hanauma Bay. Or if you don't want to do Hanauma Bay, go up to the North Shore. And one place I really, really love that not everybody hits is Iolani Palace, which is downtown.
Oh.
This is the only, they had a queen, right? They had a queen and queen system there. So it's the only official palace in the United States. So you can actually go and see where a queen lived in a U.S. state. And it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Very European touches there.
That's so cool.
Yeah, different than the rest of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that one. So yeah, that's a great.
I didn't do that either. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's fantastic. And I would also say, and we touched on it. So just, I want to make sure we get back to it. We had mentioned Aulani. that is a great location for if you want to also stay kind of centrally located in Ko'olina with excursions out to, to do other places, as we mentioned. But I will say, I think of all of the hotels, that one architecturally is my favorite. I also love a couple of them in Waikiki, just like some beautiful old ones. I'm thinking of like the Surf Rider, and I love that. But
Hawaiian.
Yes. Oh my gosh. But I love those like iconic perches of, it's just such a very striking feel. And I don't know, it felt very Hawaiian and there's just some cool places. You can get some shaved ice there. You can go snorkeling right there. Like, it's very encapsulated, which can be really great for a family. But it's also a nice idea to like split it with maybe a more Waikiki stay or another part of the island, just so you can experience a lot of it. So
absolutely. Yeah. If you're going to Aulani, and I mean, it's, nothing in Hawaii is cheap, but if you're going to Aulani and you're going to spend the money to stay in Aulani, it's a great opportunity to really stay on the property and do everything. There is snorkeling there. There's great kids clubs there. There's even a character meal there. The pools are amazing. There's slides.
Yes.
There's storytelling. It's an amazing resort. So if you're there and you can just spend a few days just on the resort, enjoying the time there, it's a great opportunity to do so.
Absolutely. And because food in Hawaii is not cheap, there is an ABC right across the street. So especially if you get a villa or something with even like a mini fridge and whatever, it's a nice opportunity to get some groceries across the street. And that way you're not eating out for every single meal. Brady and I did that, and it was great. Just basics. And like, it's a great tip. A little bit more expensive for groceries, but Hawaii in general is because it's an island. And
it's expensive.
It's Hawaii, so. Oh my gosh. So, well, gosh, thanks so much for joining me today, guys, talking about Hawaii. I'm sure we'll have, like a part 2 coming up about another island, and then part 3 about another island. I mean, it's a lot to talk about. And Hawaii, here's your Oahu overview. So let's talk about, where can you follow the stars? And this weekend, you're going to want to follow us because we have an amazing race through Walt Disney World. Don't worry, we're not actually running. Cast members don't like that. We're not really running. We're just accomplishing tasks and for points and prizes. So Susan and Eric are actually on the same team. You're going to want to follow them. So, Eric, where can they find you? Oh, did you freeze?
Oh, no. Okay.
Oh, no. I think you froze. All right. Susan, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Apanastar Susan, or on Facebook at Susan's Great Escapes. Or, of course, you can always email me at susan@apanastartravel.com.
Perfect. And since Eric was apparently, looks like he might be coming back. So we'll let him, in the meantime, I'll tell you where you can find me. And you can find me at Apanastar Jen. And that's my, I actually will be posting this weekend because we'll be all out there. You can always email me here. And Eric, how about you? Where can they find you?
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
You can find me at Eric P at Apanastar Travel. You can email me there, or at Instagram, Eric_Apanastar Travel. I can't wait for this weekend. It's going to be such a blast down there in Disney World.
It really is. And if you want to follow all of the teams, because there are 4 teams, as I mentioned, I'm on a different team from these 2. But follow our Apanastar Travel, at Apanastar Travel everywhere. And we are going to be keeping you up to date on all of the happenings. Oh, and we're also running a 5K on Friday. So you'll see the stars running a 5K on Friday. That one we will have running in. And then some fun activities. And then Saturday, all day, you can keep track of our 4 teams, where they are. We're starting in different parks. We all have assignments. You just wait. It's going to be a blast. You won't want to miss that. So, well, for all of Apanastar Travel and for Susan and Eric, I'm Jen. Remember, there's a whole new world of travel to discover. We'd love to help you do it. And we'll see you guys real